7 o'clock, I'm going to call the meeting to order. You all rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for coming this evening. This evening's meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by MCCAM and is also being recorded by Verizon. With that, next item on the agenda is unanticipated. Any board member have anything under unanticipated? Anyone in the audience? Okay. Announcements and recognitions. Mr. Frawley?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to say happy birthday to Alexandria Pimento, who turned 100 yesterday. She celebrated her birthday down at Nemasket Healthcare on Marion Road with her family of George Andrade Sr., George Andrade Jr., their respective wives and family. So it was really nice to be able to go down there and say, how'd you do it?
And what was your answer?
Good genes. Good genes.
So where do you buy these good jeans?
I don't know. I wasn't wearing them, but it was a great thing to be a part of. So congratulations, thank you, and keep on trucking, I guess.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone in the audience have any announcements? Okay, next item is approval of minutes. The first one is the minutes for February 20th. The board held a wastewater treatment plant design workshop.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And I have to abstain. I didn't attend the meeting. So it's 4 and 1 abstention. How's that? Did I get the numbers right this week? Thank you.
Good job, Al.
Next set of minutes is regular minutes for February 25th.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous, they pass. Mr. Spataro?
Just back on the wastewater treatment, I was there for the second half of that, so if they could make that change.
Did you get that?
Does your vote only count for half?
No, but I was, nope.
Moving down to new business. First item on the agenda is vote to approve the 2013 permit for Cape Way Rovers, including practice dates, race dates, Sunday entertainment dates, and one-day liquor license. Is there someone here from Cape Way Rovers? Welcome.
Gentlemen, David Payne, 633 Bedford Street, Abington, Mass. I'm the Vice President of Cape Way Rovers. I submitted the request.
Thank you. It's kind of a normal thing we deal with every year. Looks like you're applying for a one-day liquor license for all the weekend practices and events.
Correct.
Does the board have any, I just want to mention that this particular organization gives a donation every year to the Mitchell Memorial Club in support of youth athletics in this town. They've been doing that every year since they've been around. Are there any abutters in the audience? No. Any board members have any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
To Jackie, this is the same number of dates as always, correct?
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I know I'm asking him. I didn't honestly count them, but we...
The way things go, I'd be kind of crazy just trying to stick an extra one in there.
No, just double checking.
Sometimes I get enough trouble just looking for what we're supposed to be able to get.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, if no other questions, we'll go on to the first one, which is the approval of one-day liquor license for the 15 days this week. Basically, all the Sunday race dates and
Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday race dates and the
Sunday practices.
Weekend practices.
Yes.
Any questions? What's the pleasure of the board?
Do we want to read those dates into the record?
Excuse me?
Do we have to read those dates into the record, sir?
Well,
Tell you what,
I can, March 17th, March 23rd, April 6th, April 13th, April 27th, May 19th, June 9th, June 16th, June 30th, July 14th, July 21st, July 28th, August 4th, August 11th, August 17th, September 8th, September 15th, September 29th, October 5th, October 13th, October 20th, November 3rd, November 10th, and November 17th. Those are 15 days. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion, I need a second. Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions, none. Passes unanimous. The next item is to approve the entertainment license, which is the Sunday races, Sunday and Saturday races.
Just this, it's a Sunday entertainment license.
Excuse me?
It's a Sunday entertainment
Sunday
license.
entertainment license. The dates, March 17th, March 23rd, June 9th, June 16th, July 21st, August 4th, August 11th, September 8th, September 15th, September 29th, October 13th, October 20th, November 3rd, November 10th, and November 17th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
We just probably want to reaffirm some of the things we talked about last time about at what point can an engine be cranked over and noise can be made. And then we had some abutters that just wanted to reaffirm we understood that.
9 a.m.
It's 9 a.m. I think is that what it is, 9 a.m. And I know I went down there and I didn't see anything cranked up before then. I know you run around and make sure that doesn't happen, so.
I was yelling at
appreciate your
everybody.
efforts.
And we passed out a pink piece of paper to
As do your
everybody.
abutters.
And I put it in every email that I sent out,
Okay, thank you very
all
much.
through the season.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's always been 9. No
I
one
know,
should have ever
I know,
started
just-
anything before 9.
Sometimes you may have some out of town.
You get
that
some-
don't know and everything, but I
somebody
know you,
that-
I've seen you running around making sure, and I appreciate that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I need a motion. Do I have a motion? I have a motion.
We have a motion. I made a motion, and we seconded it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. You have your entertainment license for Sunday.
Thank you.
The only other matter we have to approve is the actual race dates and practice dates. Do we need to approve those?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the race dates, Sunday race dates, March 17th, March 23rd, June 9th, June 16th, July 21st, August 4th, August 11th, September 8th, September 15th, September 29th, November 13th, November 20th, November 11th, November 3rd, November 10th, November 17th. Those are Sunday races. Saturday races, April 6th, April 13th, April 27th, August 17th, and October 5th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. The last item we have to approve are the practice dates. The practice dates, four available for the weekend and 6 for weekdays. And the use would be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The weekend practice dates are May 19th, June 30th, July 14th, and July 28th. The weekday practices are June 26th, July 17th, July 24th, July 31st, August 7th, and August 14th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Thank you. I think you're all set.
Thank you.
Good luck. Have a good season.
Thank you.
Next item is vote to approve a common vic license for the Boston Tavern located at 58 East Grove Street. I believe we have a representative here from the Boston Tavern. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Dennis Barbado. I'm one of the owners of Boston Tavern. So I am here for the common victular license, requesting, and an entertainment license as well.
The Boston Tavern is now going to be taking over the location of the old Riverside. And we have reference here from the health department that they don't have any problem with this permit. At some point, though, they'll be doing an inspection.
That's correct.
Any questions?
On one-
What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve?
Second?
A motion and a second. Steve, did you have a comment?
It was around entertainment, but that's the next subject, correct?
What, the liquor license?
Yeah, entertainment.
Liquor
That's next.
license and entertainment license, right. Any other, anyone in the audience? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Next one is to vote to approve an entertainment license for the Boston Tavern located at 58 East Grove Street. The entertainment license is for weekday entertainment from the hours 8:30 p.m. to 12 a.m. And also for the function room on various dates based on, various times based on the function that will be taking place in the function room. Is that correct?
That's correct. I'm not sure on the week, you mentioned weekdays.
It says 8:30 p.m. to 12
That would be, you know, our plan is to have entertainment Thursday, Friday, Saturday, as well as the, whatever the need for the functions. You know, if it's a wedding, they may bring in a band or a DJ.
Doesn't give, I mean,
It does say on here, function room, entertainment, varied hours.
varied hours, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought I made that clear.
And, Mr. Chairman, we have
Mr. Spataro.
somebody makes a comment, what is being requested. Is that the answer that's there, or do you still have a question?
Well, he put in his letter, he specified the weekday, and that's what he's trying to say, is really just Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday on the letter, but it's not on the license, it's not on the
Right,
application.
so that's my mistake, because I hand wrote that in talking with him, he had not put anything. I put that, but I neglected to put the Thursday.
So do you want
and
this
Friday.
license just for
But he
Thursday,
has-
Friday, and Saturday?
Well,
The weekday license?
Right.
Is that what
You know, weekdays, you know, would be Monday through Friday for me, so, you know, we'd like the, you know, the flexibility of having Thursday, Friday, Saturday is really is what we're looking for. I don't foresee us having a need for license on Monday and Tuesday unless it's, you know, St. Patrick's Day or something like that down the road, so.
They might as well just approve the license for weekdays and
Yes,
just,
they just call it weekday.
so there's no,
That's your
The
term.
only thing different is Sunday entertainment stands alone. So everything else falls under that umbrella,
Thank you.
including Saturday.
so it's a
Monday through
weekday
Saturday.
license?
No, he wants Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then he wants Sunday entertainment.
But we're just hearing
With
from him.
varied hours.
We're hearing from him that he would like Monday through Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
So, yeah, when you
Weekdays,
said
Monday through Friday.
weekday, that gets Monday through Friday, so I was a little puzzled with that, but if that's the way you call it, then yes, a weekday license.
So you're looking through Monday through Saturday.
That would be great.
Is that your request, or is
Can you
that,
do that?
you answering what we think you want? What do you want?
Our plan is to have entertainment Thursday through Saturday night.
But maybe on Monday, Tuesday, or
Well, I
Wednesday,
mean,
something might
there could be
happen.
a function,
So then why don't we just have it Monday through Saturday? That way, we don't send the cops down to Buster's on Monday night because
Thank you.
somebody's playing a harmonica, okay? How about that?
Okay, so now we've got an entertainment license here, Monday through Saturday, with no Sunday entertainment license.
that's correct.
So you're not going to run functions on Sunday? What if you have I'm just trying to get this all cleared up in one, so you don't have to come back here every time you have a function on a Sunday.
Then we will apply for a Sunday license.
You
If
will
if
apply
it's- yeah.
individually, okay? All right, so before us is a motion for a weekday entertainment license, Monday through Saturday, for the hours 8 PM to 12 AM. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Second.
We have a motion. I can't
So
make the
moved.
motion. What? Motion,
Motion.
Second.
second. We have a
No, we got
motion,
it
we have a
right.
second. We're going to get through this tonight, I promise. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
He's saying, why do I want
I
to come
hope
to this
not.
town?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Congratulations and welcome to town.
Thank you very much.
When are you going to open?
We're looking at around the 15th of April.
15th of April.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You have another location in West Bridgewater?
we do.
Is that across the street from Market Basket?
It is.
I think I've done
You don't remember?
it. I know, that's,
Leave
it's
it
not
there.
like that. It's a long time ago.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
town.
Welcome. All right. Got through that just fine. Next item is vote to approve an amended storage of flammables license for 760 Center Street and authorize the chair to sign the amended license. This license now is for regular gas, 8,000 gallons, super gas, 5,000 gallons, and diesel at 3,000 gallons, for a total of 16,000 gallons. We have a letter in here from the fire chief indicating that he has no issues with this. I was just wondering, what was the storage capacity before, do you know?
Usually it's on here.
I didn't see it.
No
Not
other
that it-
changes then. Oh, it's actually, the chief wrote no other changes other than
this-
name.
Other than the name.
Right. These
Thank you.
licenses go with the property, but the name of the owner, I think.
Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak to this? I don't see any board member have any questions? What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Next item is vote to support a letter to the town's state legislative delegation on infrastructure funding. Charlie, you want to set the stage on this?
Yeah,
one?
Mr. Chairman, let me give you some background. This letter originated in a conversation I had with Representative Coulter about a week or so ago while we were meeting on the Middleborough Rotary. He asked to come out and better understand the differences between our proposal for the Rotary and the one that the Mass DOT has developed, because he hadn't been able to come to either of the previous sessions we had here in this room that went over the details of the two proposals. In the course of that discussion, he mentioned that he, and we were talking about the state budget as well, he did not see the governor's comprehensive revenue package having any chance at all of passing in the legislature. He just didn't see the support for it, but that there was a growing consensus that the Transportation Department had made the case for the need for additional funding for maintaining our basic infrastructure, roads and bridges. Not for big enhanced projects, big new projects, but for, maintaining and improving what we already have. And he said that he felt that that was, likely, very likely to pass this year, and probably sooner rather than later. And that if Middleborough wanted to be considered for, or to benefit from that funding, that it would, mean that we would have to support, or go on record to support a new revenue source for infrastructure. That it was, in all likelihood, if it was going to come up, it was going to pass, and that if we were not on record supporting it, then chances are we'd have a really long time waiting in the queue for any assistance from state government for our infrastructure. So I proceeded to draft this letter, and I think Tom. Tom's a fairly conservative guy. And there were a couple of conditions he put on his support of this kind of funding. one of which that it couldn't be used for anything else, and that he, you know, he believes that the way it will come out will be that there will be a quote-unquote lockbox around this funding, similar to what's the penny on the sales tax that was provided to the school building financing authority several years ago, where that money only can go to new school building construction. You know, and that, you know, we say that we're expecting that these funds, you know, be used, you know, some of which be used to fund infrastructure development in Middleborough. So I crafted a letter around those ideas for you to consider tonight. But I also happened Friday to be at the MMA legislative breakfast that they had, and there were about a half a dozen legislators there as well. And basically, I heard them saying just about the same thing that Tom mentioned to me earlier in the week, that not one of them supported a comprehensive, you know, tax increase modification that the governor has put on his agenda, but that they all felt that, you know, something had to be done for infrastructure funding, and that they were going to be supportive of that. So having heard that from a couple of different sources, and you know, taking Tom's comments to heart about, you know, having to, you know, be on the right side of this issue if we expect to see anything from, you know, from this funding source, I drafted these letters for you to consider tonight.
Let me just read the letter so everybody here understands what's being said. A separate letter will be sent to each one of our state delegation. The Board of Selectmen asks that you support limited revenue enhancements to fund repair and restoration of our transportation infrastructure. As you know, we have long advocated for improvements to the Middleborough Rotary and to widening of Route 44 from Carver to the Rotary. While these projects are extremely important to the economic development of the town and the entire regions, we are also aware that they are very expensive. TIP funding alone will not be sufficient to finance these important projects. Our support for an additional revenue source to maintain and improve our existing transportation infrastructure is with the understanding that this new revenue be dedicated solely for that purpose, and that Middleborough Rotary and the Route 44 widening will share in the funding from this new revenue. Thank you for your continued advocacy on our behalf, signed by the Middleborough Board. So with that, I'll open up discussions amongst the board members, and then we'll ask people in the audience to comment as well. Who wants to start?
Well, I think I could probably start. You are?
I'm going to go last, so
Okay.
go ahead. Or unless somebody wants to speak after me. Go ahead, Steve.
Go ahead. I have several questions about this. When they talk about limited revenue enhancements, i.e. new taxes, what's the tax, what amount of tax are they looking for?
You know, what was discussed Friday among the legislators and, you know, some of the local officials that were there, they were mentioning about a $600 million amount annually. But I don't know if anybody knows at this point, Steve, to be quite honest. It's, you know, we haven't seen a proposal yet. We don't know what it, you know, exactly will entail. But it's not anywhere near what the governor was advocating or has been advocating over the last several weeks.
Well, my concern with this is that, first of all, it's another tax on top of not only our taxpayers, but if we go with this with all the taxpayers, probably it's going to go against gasoline, I would imagine.
You know, I think that's the one you hear most often, you know, that it rather than being a combination of, you know, the governor's income tax increase, sales tax decrease, you know, he had so many moving parts in that proposal, it's likely to be relatively straightforward. So, you know, probably if it's funding transportation, it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up being a gas tax.
Well, I've been in touch with one of our representatives to find out how much money is collected each year for sales, for gasoline and diesel fuel taxes. And that amount is about $600 million. And that money is was always supposed to be targeted to our transportation infrastructure. And several years back, well, they use a lot of money a lot of that money goes to the big dig.
Unfortunately.
And will, until I believe it's 2024, I think that's when they end up finally paying that off, or as much as the state ever pays anything off. It's supposed to drop off the rolls then. But they also peeled off a lot of that money for the T, to fund the T. So they're taking our transportation money from our gas taxes, which was supposed to be utilized for our infrastructure repairs, and they're pouring into the T. There's been a lot of reports, and I'm sure everybody's read the news articles about the T. That doesn't seem to be functioning as well as it might. But they keep peeling this money away. So even though they say here this money is going to go to a lockbox, quote unquote, I have questions of that. I have questions because the lottery was supposed to all come back to the towns. And that money is now only 70% coming back to the towns. So there's a lot of questions about how the state manages its funds. And to give the state another $600 million every year, that's like giving a junkie more drugs and saying you're going to get better. I just don't see that happening. In our Rotary fix, the present one is what, $37 million? Well, there's nothing on the transportation improvement packet or program for the next 5 years for the Middleborough Rotary. It's not even listed. I go to SERPED meetings and I know this. So we're not even on the radar screen. Plus, we haven't bought into the present design. Even though the design may get revoked by federal highway, right now the state can say Middleborough doesn't like it. What can we do? So all the money that we're going to give, if we agree with this, is going to go to other projects. And I'll be very suspect if it all stays in transportation.
Thanks, Steve.
That's for me, for now.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ben? You all set? Steve?
We got a 2% payroll tax, which really is a lot more than that when you figure it on a percentage basis. Everybody's living within their budget. Why can we do capital projects without having to raise the taxes on our residents, and the state can't? It's just feed the beast, and I don't like these kind of letters where it's not Charlie. I don't like these kind of conversations where if you want to get along, you got to give. They've got enough of our money. I do not believe that they're well managed, not as well managed as the town is across the state, and I have no interest in giving them more. People are having a hard enough time to get by, just like the turnpike was supposed to be paid for, and the tolls were off. I'm not interested. I don't believe that the whole transportation department's well managed.
Alan?
I'm in no hurry to give the state any more of my money either, but it certainly seems like this is a much more palatable option than what the governor's proposing. I don't believe that the governor's proposal is going to go through. I do believe that something like this will go through. If it goes through and we're on the right side of it, then we stand a pretty good chance of, I'll say we stand a chance of getting some of the money for the Middleborough Rotary. A Rotary that's plagued this region since its inception, that we've had no help from on the state. If we vote against it, I can guarantee that we're not going to see any of that money, and the Rotary will continue to plague us. I'm more than happy to support this letter on the chance that we end up on the right side of this equation, and that we do get an opportunity to fix our Rotary and help develop the economic development center of the town. The Rotary's killing us. We've got to do everything we can to support the fix of the Rotary. We need to do this, we need to get more towns in this area on board with it. We have to, in my opinion, we have to do everything we can to help get a solution to this Rotary. Voting against the transportation bill is not going to help us in any way, shape, or form, and I believe we'll just slam the door on it. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Go right ahead.
There's no bill referenced in this, and there's no cap on the amount of limited revenue enhancements listed here. I mean, this is the blank check to do anything you want. We support it. I don't support. I don't want to give our legislators a blank check, and that's what this looks like to me. And there's no guarantees that they're going to put any money into that Rotary.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Frawley.
If you look at it as supporting a framework that will work towards funding a fix for the Rotary, I think it's a little bit more palatable. I know we have different slants on it. I'm just asking, and I do understand where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you to take a look at it through my eyes, that we got to get this thing fixed, and that this is a possible path to getting that fixed. It's also slamming the door on it if we don't support it.
I want to look through your eyes.
Be
but they're
optimistic,
too young.
Steve. Be optimistic. I want you to be optimistic.
We haven't even agreed to a fix.
No, we haven't.
The town
We
of
haven't.
Middleborough is the block here on the fix.
No,
We
we're not.
haven't
No,
said
wait,
yes.
whoa. We are not the block on the fix in
Yes,
any way,
we
shape, or
are.
form. I said this to the DOT when I was there, and I'll say it to you now. We're not the block.
Have we signed on and said, yeah, we like this idea,
We're
go
still
for
in
it?
discussion about it.
What, we got to move. We got to say, put here.
We're working on
There's
it.
the fix.
We
We
all
want to
know
go
how
with
slow
it.
things go. And I can't guarantee that this is going to get fixed if we sign on for this. I can guarantee that it will not get fixed if we don't.
I want to see that. I want to see the letter saying
This
we
is supporting
support.
a framework. We're a long way from supporting any specific bill or anything. This is supporting a framework which is good for the town.
What they
That's all
already
this
have
is.
$600 million in taxes in $600 million. We only want $37 million. $600 million they got coming in. And they put it into the big dig and they got lights falling, they don't care, they're just gonna put another $1.5 million
And we can wallow
little
in the mud
lights.
in the past, or we can move forward.
Well, the problem is, the mud of the past is the mud that we're gonna be dealing with in the future, because it's the same people that are making the decisions.
I don't think it is the same people.
Oh, I
I think we
do.
have an opportunity here, and I think we'd be foolish not to go forward with it.
Okay.
Okay. I guess it's my turn. Look, I'm not in any big hurry to increase any taxes either. But the truth of the matter is, we need more revenue to fix the infrastructure, not only in Middleborough, but in the state. There is no stream of revenue available today to do that. For too long, the state has ignored our infrastructure needs. We see it all around us, in bridges in our own town that can't get fixed. And that story is repeated time and time again throughout the state. We can regret what happened to this money in the past, how they used it, where they used it, but we are where we are. And the only way we're going to get our infrastructure improved is to come up with a new source of revenue. Even in the private sector, we have operating budgets and we have capital budgets, and we fund them. Even in our own town, we do that now, and generally we fund our capital improvements with borrowings. And we try to maintain it by retiring debt with it. However, in my mind, the good outweighs the bad in this case. I would support this proposal, and I think our letter has enough caveats to it that if a bill were to come out that didn't restrict this money to infrastructure improvements only, and it wasn't tagged for that specifically, and that the Rotary Circle was never included on the list, then we wouldn't have supported it. So I'm comfortable signing this letter. This is an early stage of a proposed bill, and I think the letter has enough caveats in it that we can back off when we see the final bill and issue another letter if we choose not to support.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that too. If the proposal comes out and it's not what we've been led to believe, then we
We'll
take
issue
another
another
vote
letter and
and
say no.
take the support
We'll
away.
withdraw our support.
I mean, I'm not, giving anybody a blank check. I've been, from what I've heard and in terms of the discussions I've had, the framework that I believe is going to take place, I think gives us some comfort that the money is not going to be siphoned off to anything else. But, if we don't like what we see, we back away from it. It's that simple.
And what Charlie just said, I think we need to realize, I mean, if this thing gets drafted, it's going to pass. This will pass. And I guess we can stand on principle when the five of us are saying, great, state, you passed that, but we're not for it. Keep your money, we don't want it. Well, that's not being practical in my mind. We talk about the foolishness that's going on in Washington, D.C. I don't want to see it here locally. I think this is the right thing to do at this proposal stage. The rough proposal makes sense to me. And like I said, once the final bill comes out, if we don't like it, we send another letter and withdraw our support. But this is in the discussion stage, and I think the framework of this makes sense to me. So why not support the framework and allow it to go forward? Yes, Steve Spataro.
I don't think that Mr. McKenning was being foolish in his the points that he was trying to make. So I know that I don't believe you were calling him foolish or myself foolish when you said that it's a foolish approach. I know you to be more cordial than that. You talked about you talked about capital versus operating. I mean, Jack Healy before Charlie and Lombard did a complete analysis that said the transportation department is funding operating expenses with their capital budget. That's a fact. So we give them more capital money and they'll continue to pay operating expenses out of a capital budget. I mean, there's no fiscal responsibility in that. So again, I understand what you're saying, but I think after 20 years, we're getting taxation without representation. To see Ruth, who is a bulldog on projects, not even be interested in having another meeting on the Rotary because it's to no avail. It's just too many times in the last 20 years we've been told that, oh yeah, we'll do the Rotary. And we put this letter in, we can send another letter that says we're out. The momentum's already there. So
I think the momentum is already there. And not sending this letter, not sending it or sending it in support is not going to make a difference. But I think it'll put us on the right side of the issue here. When it passes, Middleborough stood up. We've been crying for 20 years. We need infrastructure improvement on that Rotary Circle. And now the state, they're coming up with a proposal to come up with some funding to improve the infrastructure on an accelerated basis. And Middleborough says no. What does that say? What does that
it's
make us
overdue.
look like idiots?
It's overdue. It's been overdue for 20 years. This isn't, we're begging the state to do our project. They have let us down. That should have been done a long time ago.
We are where we are, Steve. It may have been done 20 years ago. We're going to keep beating them up over that, or we're going to try to come up jointly with a solution.
No, that's right. It's blackmail. It's blackmail. We have to do this to get a name on the list.
Any other board member have any comments before I ask for comments from the audience?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Frawley.
I know we've been doing this for over 20 years, and I'm not willing to give up now.
Okay, thank you. Anyone from the audience? Jeez, and your name is?
My name's Brian Giovannoni. And
Really?
for every nickel of gasoline tax is going to cost me at least $125 a year in my house. And for me, I wouldn't have a problem with that if we didn't send most of that money to the failing business model called the MBTA. We keep funding that and funding it and funding it. And at some point, it's old Yeller time. Yeah, the MBTA, unfortunately, I'm not looking to kill it, but unfortunately, we can't keep funding it from the sticks. We're out here, we've got failing infrastructure, and unless that letter said something on the order of, and please don't spend all this money funding the MBTA because they don't put anything into the gas tax, which is where they're going to get it all, for every gallon, whether it's 2 cents a mile that I drive or whatever it is. That's what they're looking at. This is insane how they're going to derive this revenue. But as long as it went back to us without them siphoning their typical 40 cents in the dollar to waste away to something else, you wouldn't have a problem with it. Or if they gave the money back directly to the community and said, we're going to earmark it for the communities. But they're not. So I'd love for it to say something on the order of in that letter to make sure it doesn't go to the MBTA to help fund the failing system that is called the MBTA. They've got to get that place in order. They're looking to balance that budget this year because they already took the money from the stickers from cars, the excess money from all those sticker fees and stuff from the registry of motor vehicles last year to balance their budget. Well, they took that one-time revenue source, and now they don't know where they're going to get another $52 million or whatever it's going to be in the hole this year. So they're trying to do this. That's the one problem. I agree. I'd love to see them do something, and you're right. If they don't get a funding source, they're going to do nothing. But I just don't want to see them fund this MBTA and keep taking money away from the infrastructure that really needs it, whether it's roads or other pieces of infrastructure that really need the money. But thank you. But that's, like I said, every nickel's 125 out of my household for the amount of fuel that I use.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any board member have any additional comments? Mr. Frawley?
I'd just like to reread the last paragraph. Our support for an additional revenue source to maintain and improve our existing transportation infrastructure is with the understanding that this new revenue be dedicated solely for that purpose, and that the Middleborough Rotary and the Route 44 widening will share in the funding from this new revenue.
I think that's pretty clear.
Do you want to put a time frame on it? So it's not
Time
another
frame for
20 years?
when
That says this money will be dedicated to the Rotary within the next 5 years for the design of a overpass, Rotary overpass?
Nope.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. McKinnon?
To Charlie, are there any of Tom or any of the other reps, are there any bills that are on the table that this would be referring to?
Not yet, Steve. I mean, they're still formulating what the bill will be.
Well, they can't put any new bills in until next year, because the bills have all been
No, they...
set for this year. They've all been submitted for this year, so...
Yeah, but they can, they have rules, and they can add legislation, through their rules.
All right, discussion's over. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'd like to make a motion that the board send this letter of support to our legislative delegation.
We have a motion. Do I have a second? Can the chair second?
No.
Yes? Yeah, I think I can.
No.
I'm going to second that motion for open discussion. Any other discussion before we take a vote?
One thing.
Yes.
I would gladly work with my younger set of eyes over here.
That can't be me then.
No, that's not you. But how about, what about moving along the plan that we have? In other words,
I don't lead us through yet.
what about getting that plan moving so that this can have something? My fear is,
No, I hear you.
we go along with this, and this hurts me to go along with this, but we go along with this, and then they say, well, yeah, but Middleborough, you didn't go along with our other plan. We gave you the plan, and you haven't done anything with it, so, we're going to take the 800, 600, 200, whatever $1 million, and we're going to use it for something else, like the spaghetti ramps down in Fall River.
No, actually, the other thing we discussed that day when we were talking about the Rotary was how do we build the consensus around our Rotary preference? And and Tom made a commitment to bring together not only our legislators, but the legislators from the affected communities around us to build support for our Rotary design and to then follow that up with a meeting with the secretary to discuss it with him directly. So that was part and parcel of this. This was only step one. You know, following this would be the steps to build consensus around our preferred solution and to get that adopted. So
Can we get that language inserted into this letter?
do you want to specifically mention having and asking them for support for our design?
Plan?
I'm sorry?
Our design?
Yeah, I mean, we can.
not that, I know they get the Ring Road plan, which is
No, that's
Fantasy
not,
Island,
yeah, just,
isn't it?
yeah, it's not going to happen.
but the,
Well, that's what I mentioned a second ago, putting it in here in that paragraph that it was for, we're in support of this if they're in support of our design, and put a time frame on it. Otherwise, it could be, again, another 20 years before we get up.
We could work with that. We could probably say a commitment, I mean, we'll pick within 5 years, a commitment to build the, McMahon design,
I don't
something
wanna-
like that. If that would,
I don't go along with,
Okay, I mean, I could- let me-
hammering our taxpayers for more money if it's just,
let me work that into the letter and bring it back to you next week and see if that
Can we?
helps. Sure.
that would make me feel a lot
All right,
better.
I'll circulate a draft before the meeting
Right.
and, get your comments on that as well. All right, good.
So just want to
Maybe
throw
I'll
in your motion.
rescind my,
Huh?
I rescind my motion.
Okay.
Okay, very good, thank you.
And we'll have another discussion on this next week. Next item,
Mr. Chairman?
thank you all for your comments, by the way. I know it's not an easy subject. No, really, I mean,
How fast they're planning
I
on
mean, honest.
doing that?
Well,
The question was,
It-
how quickly are they going to be making a vote?
yeah, I don't
They
think
haven't
it's
even
this week.
drafted
I'm
the
not
bill
even
yet.
sure. See, they were supposed to put the plan out there Friday, and then they put it off a week. So I think, it certainly gives us a week to, reconsider the language. I don't think it's going to happen any time.
Does it give it 2 weeks or only a week?
Well, let me look into it. All right, I'm not sure.
I know I won't be making next week, I was just curious.
Okay.
If that's a stumbling block, go ahead and vote on it next week. I just know that I won't be here.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is to discuss the board's annual town report. I believe you all have received a second copy of the report I drafted. Do you have any comments or changes that you want to make to that report before we send it off?
No.
Thought you did a great job.
Thank you.
Prolific writer,
Great.
and
Thank you.
articulate.
I can definitely tell you have a financial background.
Yeah, it was all about numbers, wasn't it? I can't help myself. But you're welcome to add anything.
No, I thought you did, I
You
really
want some
did. I thought it was,
touchy-feely stuff in there, go right ahead.
yeah, I got 2 deer this year.
I don't know if that'll
Yeah.
work in the report.
Yeah, I
but
wish the winner of the single.
All right, then,
duels
then
last.
we'll move forward with that, and I'll send it off. Thank you. Next item is to review suggestions for improvements that were made in this year's town audit. It's called a management letter, where they review our internal control, our accounting procedures, financial procedures, and they make recommendations. This year, they only found one new comment. In general, we're chipping away at the prior year comments, maintaining capital asset records. They wanted us to buy a fixed asset system, which is they're generally expensive and difficult to maintain, but they apparently have come up with one that's reasonably priced, and we're going to look into that. Currently, we do it with Excel spreadsheets, and it's not great, but it gets the job done. If you have a full-blown fixed asset system, the control is a little tighter, and you can track the movement of assets and things like that. So we're looking at that one, and they were pleased to see that we're doing that. Last year, they made a comment on improving the accounting for compensated absences. Prior, each department had their own little way of doing it. on index cards or whatever. We now have an automated system that we've tested in several departments.
No, all departments.
All departments
Every
now?
department,
Are
yeah,
we-
no,
are we
we're
live?
operating that every week. The only thing we haven't turned on the reporting on the paychecks yet, because we're still, making sure and working the bugs out of the accrual side. We've got
Okay. We
the
haven't
deduct
started the use
side working,
side.
people are, putting that in through the payroll system. We just want to make sure that the time is accrued properly before we turn it on. We're hoping to turn it on at the end of this month, so.
The
we're very
use side
close.
will be turned on the end of this
Yeah,
month?
the reporting side will be turned on
Okay.
this month. But we are using it fully, in terms of every week's payroll.
The other prior year comments was the recording of department receivables, that the town accountant didn't have access to all the records. He now has access to all the records, including the school department's records, but we still have a few areas that we need to work on, but they're pleased with the progress. One is the Community Preservation Act matching reimbursement. I know it's new, and we need to track that. The veterans reimbursement and grant reimbursements and the housing loan program, we're still working on those, but we're making very good and steady progress. Evaluate sufficiency of department turnovers. Turnovers is the receipts that our departments get, and they want to make sure that we have an adequate detail as to the date of the receipt, what the receipt was for, so that we have a good audit trail to determine that those receipts were in fact handled properly. Custody of contracts and surety bonds. Apparently the state requires that the town accountant have copies on hand of all contracts. I think we've convinced them now that the town office has adequate access to these records, so I'm expecting this comment to disappear next year. Improve procedures surrounding abatement applications. Last year, not this current audit, but the audit before, they were unable to locate a couple of applications in the files for rebates in the assessor's office. They didn't have that problem this year, so this particular comment will be eliminated. Review process and procedures surrounding financial software. Apparently, 2 years ago, we mounted the wrong software when we sent out our tax bills. We haven't had that problem since, so whatever we changed in the procedures have satisfied the auditors, and that comment will disappear. Proration of health insurance premiums between employers. So if we have an employee who worked, let's say in Hingham for a while, and now is working in Middleborough,
Never took
whoever
the
that
health
could be,
insurance.
I think
Never
we
took
have
the
one of
health
those. When they retire, that cost can be prorated between the two communities. So we're working on getting our records updated and to make sure that we're aware of that, so when it happens, we'll share those costs. The only comment they had this year regards the Board of Selectmen. Apparently for years, one member of the board has gone down every week and signed the warrants, and since I've been on the board for 4 years, that's been me. Apparently they need to have the majority of the board approve the expenditures of the warrants. So I think what we're going to do is, beginning shortly here, we're going to ask the board for a vote to approve the chair to sign those warrants. And if I come up with any issues, I'll be sure to bring them up to the board, or whoever signs them next year. That's the procedure we intend to.
Mr. Chairman, I would make the recommendation that when you make that motion, that it be the chair or the chair designate, just in case the chair isn't around, another selectman could look at it.
Yeah, I think you're.
And I'd really like to know what, they refer to, another Massachusetts general law provides warrants must be approved by a majority of the selectmen. But if that's really a law, usually there's a caveat in there that, or a designated, or a couple of designated selectmen can do it. Because I've done it when Al has been on vacation, I will go in and sign the warrants.
Yeah, I think as long as the board took a vote to, as we a lot of times do in terms of a signature, authorize the chairman or his designee to sign, that's perfectly acceptable, and we discussed that with the auditors to allow that to be done.
Right.
Many boards satisfy this just by having a majority sign the warrant, but that can be cumbersome,
Well,
as
yeah,
we've
you
found
get
out.
quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah,
you,
exactly. I
you
mean,
gotta-
it's a lot of different signatures. So I think having the board, allow the chair or his designee to sign satisfies it, and we just have to make that a regular vote every week.
Can it be a stamp?
No.
No, it's gotta be
No, it's got to be a
yes.
live signature.
All right.
I think that report has gotten significantly better since when I was
It's
first
certainly
on
gotten
this
shorter.
board. It's,
Yeah, absolutely. No, we've been working at it every year.
Shorter
You
the
know, we-
audit report, the better, right?
Absolutely,
Right, exactly.
been a lot of hard work to get it to this point.
absolutely. No, I think all the department heads take these very seriously, and if there's something that needs to be fixed, we fix it as soon as we can.
All right. We'll move down to hearings, meetings, and licenses. And we're a little late, but not that late. It's only 30 minutes late. The first item is Rosalie Weiss, Dr. Weiss, to present the budget and support for statement of interest for Middleborough High School. Support of interest is just to let the state know that we're looking at improving or adding or rebuilding a new high school. Is that correct? To get us on the list?
Basically, yes. We were refreshing the SOI, and so we need your approval to do so, and I'll explain this a little bit.
Could you speak into the
I
microphone?
think, somebody, if you're going to speak to this, one of you's got to be at the mic or at the podium. Oh, you got a mic right there.
Yep.
Great, thank you. I didn't even see that.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation to share our 2004 educational budget plan. My name is Kathy Piatelli. I am the business manager for the school department. Dr. Weiss, superintendent of schools, and I will present the 2014 school budget. We will be happy to entertain any questions at the end of the slideshow.
Excuse me, Kathy, is that mic on? It looks
Now
like-
it is.
I guess it is. Go ahead. It must be me. I can't see him, I can't hear. I wonder why I'm not running again. Go ahead.
The presentation will address the structure of a school budget, Middleborough's education plan, state aid, and funding for the 2014 budget. It's important for us to reflect on the mission statement during the budget process, to remind us of our responsibility to the students. I would like to begin by reviewing the chart of accounts. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education requires all school districts to follow this structure. The 1,000 account covers administration. The 2,000 series covers instruction. The 3,000 account documents services to students outside the classroom. The 4,000 account covers operation and maintenance, including utilities. The 7,000 account is for replacement of equipment or vehicles and is funded so that we are able to maintain a replacement cycle of our special education vans. Oh, and I wrote buses and equipment. The 9,000 account is for tuition for agricultural students as well as special education out-of-district placements. Bristol Plymouth vocational tuitions are paid directly from the town. At the end of every school year, all districts are required to file an end-of-the-year report which documents all the expenditures by the DOE category for the past year. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education uses the data and creates reports that are published on their website. This 2011 per pupil expenditure comparison is one of the reports created from the data. Schools with the asterisks are the schools that the DESE considers to be similar to Middleborough. Bridgewater, Raynham, and Carver were added because they are our neighbors. The yellow column on the left is where Middleborough falls, and the yellow column on the right is the state average. These are the factors that drive our budget decisions, and now Dr. Weiss will share the education plan for 2014.
Good evening, and thank you for having us this evening. I would also like to express my thanks to the administrative team members who are able to come this evening, sitting behind, and also for the school committee members who are here to support the report on our budget presentation, who are able to attend. In accordance with the district strategic plan 2011 through 2016, the following education budget was put together. In addition to the items that are required for any district budget, the specific education plan shared this evening identifies new positions requested following the strategic plan and the recent district DESE review in order to make improvements to the district's performance in the areas of technology, safety, education, supportive of achievement, creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. As I stated in my interview for the position of superintendent, a budget is more than numbers. It indeed tells a story that represents the needs, goals, and future of the district. I'd like to begin with our district supports, and the first position that I'd like to recommend supports the goal number 2, physical facilities and safety. Presently, our buildings are maintained by our custodial staff, a maintenance staff inclusive of a maintenance foreman, plumber, and electrician. Gene Conley acts as the foreman, a dual role which he fulfills while he fulfills his own responsibilities identifying areas for repair and maintenance and the upkeep of the building. Upon my arrival in June, looking toward the summer custodial maintenance work, custodians shared with me that there is no one person in a position to oversee a cycle of repair, a cycle of summer work, or a way to identify and assess a long-range building facilities improvement plan. Considering the need to maintain a safe, educationally sound environment, to be fiscally responsible, and to lay out a long-range set of plans for the district, I am requesting the position of Facilities Director. This request meets the goal to continue to provide a safe and secure environment as outlined by the district's strategic plan. In addition, the report from the NEAST team of the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, which will come in April, may reveal areas of challenge for the high school building. In addition to our internal needs, what makes this request more efficient is that along with sharing the technology director with the town department, I propose to share this facilities director position with the town as well. This sharing of positions increases a connection between the school department and the town of Middleborough, which we serve. It increases collaboration, communication, and the sense of building community, which is expressed in the strategic plan as a shared responsibility of families, educators, and the community. While this is not the sole means of achieving the above, the addition of this position will increase the opportunity in a focused area to create a stronger school-town connection. Item number 2 will support goal number 1, partnership development and community involvement safety. The district strategic plan encourages public relations and school community partnerships. Over the last 6 months, I have been in contact with the Middleborough Chief of Police, and we have been in discussion about increasing the time on site for the school resource officer, referred to as SRO. I am recommending that the position of SRO be increased to full-time. The full-time presence of the SRO will allow for more time at the high school, time at the middle school to get to know students before they reach the high school age, and time for the SRO to be at the elementary schools to begin to create relationships with the students. The relationships formed will allow students to be acquainted with a police officer in a positive manner, and safety for the entire district is increased by the presence of a police officer in his police vehicle. I must say that the friendly gentleman in the blue uniform that you see is not our SRO. He looks lovely, but we have a wonderful SRO, and we'd like to continue to utilize his services. The next item fulfills goal number 5, data management technology. The slide you see represents the technology department we envision in the next few years. Presently, our district has in its employment a technology systems administrator, a network manager, a technician, and a technology systems support specialist webmaster. To the right of the chart are the two positions for the town side of Middleborough, the IT administrator and the IT administrator technical assistant. These two positions are currently supervised by our technology systems administrator. For FY14, I am recommending that we create and hire for the position of network specialist. The network connects all of our technology. This technology includes the phone system, the security system, and application servers. The server loads all of the applications we use for our devices, and the servers allow the devices to operate. The network specialist monitors, oversees, maintains, and upgrades the network. Presently, when we have a problem with the network, we hire an outside vendor and contract that vendor to service our system. The more we create in-house systems, the more cost-efficient our district becomes. The next item fulfills goal number 4, professional development. The need for professional development is cited both in the district strategic plan and the DESE district review. The strategic plan states that professional development builds teacher competency. It goes on to point out that good professional development supports teachers in building rigorous, relevant, and viable curriculum that is aligned and informed by data in all content areas. The DESE report cites our school district for lacking a well-funded, coherent, district-wide professional development plan developed collaboratively by teachers and administrators. I have directed our humanities curriculum director to establish a professional development committee made up of administrators, and teachers to present a proposal for a model professional development calendar plan and to continue to add content to the days we set aside for such, the FY14 school year and beyond. As we work toward a written curriculum aligned to the Common Core, and as we work toward developing data teams, it is imperative to put funding into our budget. The slide here shows a snippet of our January 11th full-day professional development. It was very well received by staff and administrators. On the bottom right, Dr. Todd Whitaker is standing next to that lovely lady. Dr. Todd Whitaker presented to the entire staff for 3 hours. You agree, yes? He was well-spoken, humorous in his delivery, and very focused on going from good to great. The humor was a delivery style that opens you up to hear what is being said while you are feeling connected to the presenter. In the afternoon, each building was directed by its principal to work on a task related to the book authored by Todd Whitaker titled, What Great Teachers Do Differently. Principals and directors continue to refer to Todd's book during staff meetings and in discussions regarding education. This type of professional development, along with joint planning by teachers and administrators, will enable all of us to go from good to great and beyond. The next items will refer to requested athletic department supports and will relate to goal number 3, teaching, learning, and assessment. The first position I would like to recommend is the middle school field hockey coach. The position was cut several years back along with the freshman and middle school sports programs. Unlike soccer, football, basketball, baseball, softball, there are no town youth programs that introduce the sport to our youth. We presently have a JV and varsity program that tries to be competitive in the Patriot League without the advantage of a lower level program. The Nichols School presently offers winter and spring sports for both boys and girls, but there are no choices for the fall. The next position I am recommending is a junior varsity volleyball coach. The volleyball program has consistently hosted up to upwards of 30 students over the past 8 years. We presently have one coach who manages 3 levels of girls, freshman, JV, and varsity. Every team in the Patriot League has a separate program for each level. The quality of coaching is diluted when the coach's attention is split among and between levels. For example, when working with the freshmen, the varsity girls are missing out on quality time and vice versa. Volleyball uses 6 players at a time, and the addition of a lower level coach will allow the athletes more time working in game setting under supervision. The next item in this section is my recommendation for an assistant swimming coach. The swimming program has been a model of success the past few years. We have had one coach the past 20 years. He coaches the boys team, the girls team, and the divers. Safety, supervision, and instruction would be improved with the addition of a second coach. We have been fortunate not to have an injury up to this point. This season we had a cooperative girls team with Whitman Hanson. They supplied a second coach, and it was a great bonus for the program. We hope to be able to co-op one more season before the Whitman Hanson girls begin their own team, and we will be awaiting word from the league. The next requests are for building level supports. The first item supports teaching, learning, and assessment. The strategic plan calls for students to be productive and responsible citizens who contribute to the betterment of the global community. The plan calls for ensuring that class sizes are consistent with best practices. The education provided to students will also offer opportunities for creative thinking and critical thinking. The DESE's district review supports keeping classroom size for a number of students small for better receipt of instruction and better ability to deliver instruction to all students. The report referred to smaller learning communities. HBB, the Berkman School, was the district's level 3 school that was among the 20% lowest performing schools in the state in 2011. According to our plan for small learning communities FY14, I am following the class heading to grade 5 by adding an additional teacher. The addition of a grade 5 classroom teacher will make the class size 22.6. With no addition of a classroom teacher, class size will be 27.2. The next item is to increase the Nichols Middle School PE health teacher position from 0.6 to 1.0 and increase the Nichols Middle School music teacher from 0.6 to 1.0. In order to provide staff the opportunity to meet for discussions concerning student assessment, to discuss the data and plan for future instruction, it is necessary to increase the present physical education teacher from 0.6 to 1.0, an increase of 0.4. In addition, it is necessary to increase the music teacher as well, from 0.6 to 1.0. This change will allow all members of a grade level team to meet at the same time during the week. In addition, the presence of both PE and music teachers on site 4 full days at the middle school makes teaching more efficient and effective and decreases travel time while increasing commitment to the middle school. I am recommending that when we are able, it is best for educational purposes to reduce part-time, fragmented teaching positions. Full-time staff committed to the middle school education increases focus and dedication to a middle school concept. This increase in staff time for music and physical education allows for a new and fresh middle school schedule to be in place. And finally, I am requesting the addition of a cafeteria staff member to the Early Childhood Center. I am proposing a .2 position to the Early Childhood cafeteria staff. Presently, there are 2 cafeteria staff members, both serving food to the students of MEC, the Early Childhood Center. Students put their money into bins with a picture of their teacher. A more effective and efficient manner of collecting money would be to have a .2 position for the purpose of collecting that money. This .2 position would be for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, totaling 10 hours.
These are the different resources that fund our school budget. The town allocation is the primary funding source, but we're very dependent on the additional resources. For next year, 2013-2014, school budget combined with the transportation will be $29,700,707. This table is a snapshot of the Chapter 70 state aid over the past 4 years. As you can see from the amounts that are circled, state aid is extremely inconsistent and makes it difficult to plan a budget. The 2014 school budget is an increase of $531,351, which is an increase of 2%. In addition to the town allocation, we have 22.8 positions funded from 6 different grants for a total of $1,080,153. The positions are mostly in the special ed positions, and they are spread across the district in every school. In addition to the grants, these are the additional resources that make up our school budget. Circuit breaker reimbursement is for special ed tuitions, school choice for teacher salaries, and preschool tuition for the ESP salaries of the ESPs that are in the preschool classroom. This chart shows a breakdown of the transportation line, the different sub-accounts that are funded. This slide compares the 2013 to the 2014 budget. As you can see, we are a labor-intensive business with the majority of our budget allocated to salaries. And this pie chart shows that 77% of our budget goes to salaries. These are the same numbers, just sorted differently using the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's chart of accounts. And in this clip, the majority of our budget is in the 2000 series, which supports instruction. Here's a visual of that. Next, we wanted to share some pictures of projects that were recommended by the Capital Planning Committee and funded over the last 2 years. We would like to thank both the Capital Planning Committee as well as the town residents for their support. First project is the Mary Kay Good Window Project. This project is an MSBA green repair project with a reimbursement rate back to the town of 54.79%. The window project, which is nearing completion, was funded at $500,000, and to date we have received back $191,000 in reimbursement from the state. This is our newest project, just completed. Henry B. Birkeland School had a new boiler and 2 new burners. Those would be the red end caps on each of the burners. The boiler that was replaced was original to the building, and it also survived the fire of 1988. So we really got our money's worth out of that one. We're just about wrapping up our security camera project at the Nichols Middle School and the Memorial Early Childhood Center. We have both indoor and outdoor cameras with a DVR that has the capacity for 16 cameras. Each front office will have a flat screen monitor that will display all the cameras in and out of the building. Our plan is to have the cameras installed over the summer at the Berkland, the Good, and the high school. This is a hand tilt zoom outside Nichols, stationary camera outside the Mac. We're also
Liz?
been, sorry,
Can we stop this for 1 second,
sure,
please? May I come over there?
sure. We're in the process of issuing all staff members new identification cards, and we were lucky that we were able to get all the pictures from our beginning of school photographer who came in and took the staff and student pictures. Now we're going to move on to the Middleborough High School floor tiles. The stairwells at the high school were covered with a rubber cover to cover the old tiles. And this picture was taken at the end of the day, as you can see all the wear and tear. Here's a nice shot where they're nice and clean. It was taken during vacation. We also were able to set up 3 computer labs, one at the Nichols Middle School, one at the Good School, and one at the Berkland School. Overhead projectors were installed in 40 classrooms at the Nichols Middle School. These projectors are installed over the whiteboards, and the software that connects the computer to the overhead projectors allows just a regular whiteboard to be interactive. We're also very fortunate to be able to continue with our cycle of replacement of minibuses. This is the one we purchased last year, and we're in the process of replacing another one this year. So that ends our slide presentation of the budget that was recommended and approved at the school committee meeting last Thursday night, February 28th. So if anyone has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I've sat through 4 of these now, and I found this one to be the most meaningful. Not a whole bunch of numbers, and you would think I'd be disappointed in that, but at least with this presentation, I got a sense of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. And I think that's more important for this committee to understand that, as opposed to which line item increased by 3% versus 5%. So I appreciate your approach to this. Thank you. The only question I had was in the IT area. You were bringing on a new position, network specialist. Could you just help me understand the difference between a network specialist and a network manager?
Well, the person who does the network specialist work is the person who would be the hands-on one who is skilled in that area. The manager, the person who's managing technology systems, would be the overall managing of the entire IT department. This particular person is geared for the network itself. And when the network goes down, our hands are tied, and so having to go out to a vendor every time, having to contract it every time is not cost effective. So if we could have somebody inside, I think we would find it far more efficient and effective. Just as in the past, we now have our own plumber and our own electrician, it means that everything is in-house and we can get the work done. So that would be something I would describe.
Have you looked at the cost of bringing someone inside versus what you're paying now for contract services?
Well, yes, we have. I mean, the salary that we would pay for one person greatly, I guess, is far greatly efficient, I guess, than having to pay an hourly rate for a project. So we have looked at the salary we would offer versus the continual contacting of a vendor. And over time, this will, I think, continue to be more effective and efficient, because we'll pay a certain salary that will go up only a few percentage points each year, whereas the contractor could go up much more than that. So, and the other thing I think that's important is that this particular employee will really know our systems. We'll be able to come right over, we'll really understand what we need and how we need it done, we'll understand the purpose behind it, and we'll have a very good understanding of the school district's organization. So I think that really, in addition to the money, is the extra benefit.
Thank you. How is the combination going so far?
It's going very well.
I think it's going well from the town side. I was just wondering how it looks from the school side.
I think it's going so well that, the recommending facilities administrator, it seemed to us that this was another opportunity to connect the town side and the school side. And then, we're operating together in sync and our projects go hand in hand. I think it's quite productive.
The other question I have, and I'll get to you, Steve, I promise. On the tuition side, which is basically BP and out-of-district special needs, I know it's a small percentage, but it's still a couple $1 million. It seems to me I heard, maybe it was last year or the year before, that the school is our district is going to look at providing some of the special needs services in-house if we could. And also, what are we doing I know BP is kind of special, and we had this discussion during the forecast meeting, but I think it's of interest to the people watching this meeting as to the assessment for BP has increased $200,000 to $300,000 every year, and I think it went up about $300,000 again this year because of the increased number of students leaving Middleborough High and going and choosing a technical education. So what are we doing to try to slow that tide down if we should? Maybe we shouldn't, I don't know.
No, I think we should. To date, I have visited BP twice and had about 2 to 3 hour conversations with the administration there. On the second visit, I brought our middle school principal, Marty Gagan, and our high school principal, Paul Brannigan, with me. We took tours of the building just so they could see what is offered, because I don't think they've had a first-hand opportunity to see the facility. I'm very appreciative of that facility because it does provide an option for students. What we want to make sure is that that option is understood for what it represents. You go to Bristol Plymouth for a certain purpose. You stay in Middleborough High School for a particular purpose. I think we need to communicate better what our purpose is, what we serve, what community we serve. I think we need to talk to our middle school students far earlier than we've done in the past, which is what Bristol Plymouth does. They communicate, they advertise, they talk about what they offer, and we in the past have not done as good a job as we can, not so much to be in competition, but to explain to families and students what the different offerings are. So we're proposing to begin in the 6th grade by simply talking about what the next 3 years in middle school look like and how you transition to the high school. We will also do more in terms of sharing with students what programs we offer, why you would choose BP and why you would choose Middleborough High School. And making the two distinct, I think, will help students and families make good decisions for their future. We offer AP classes. We are going to tend to go more toward the college aspect, whether it be 2-year or 4-year. BP not only tends to talk about vocation, they certainly do send their students to college, but their main function is to provide students with a hands-on vocation when they leave school. So we have, I think, a little more to do to communicate better, and I think that will help students make better decisions. In terms of the special ed offerings, the more we can offer in-house, obviously, the more efficient and effective, not only for saving money, but also for keeping our children in Middleborough, where we hope that they can grow and learn in their hometown. So every year we look at the numbers of students we have with common areas that we can service, and we try to continue to support those programs so that we can continue to have those students here. Tuition goes up every year, as does the transportation to get them here. And why leave Middleborough when you can stay?
Thank you. Mrs. Spataro.
The network administrator position, I'll just be bottom line. If you need a network administrator, you've got the wrong people in the jobs already. I have the opportunity to interact with, if you need a network administrator, you've got the wrong people in the positions that you already have. I have the opportunity to work with a lot of secondary education and colleges around IT, and the idea of supporting servers, telephony, and storage and networks, all in the same individual, is common practice. So when I look at the numbers that you have on your IT staff, it's about a third bigger than any of the other ones that I have a chance to take a look at on a total population basis. Against all the positions that you showed us, and you did talk about scores, test scores, there seems to be only one that's in a classroom, which is a 5th grade teacher. Why so many positions for infrastructure and so few incremental for teaching?
During this past summer, I hired approximately 75 people. So we have begun to build back what we had to lose. Right now, while we're not where we want to be, we also have to be careful that the infrastructure around us does not fall apart. When I look at the facilities and I look at the year-to-year discussions and decisions about what we should be doing to maintain those facilities, I don't see any one person who's helping with that cycle, who will help the custodians with their projects for the summer, who will organize them so if you've got something going on at the high school, you can bring them all over, or you can leave some in their own buildings. So I think it would be extremely efficient. In addition, I think in the town itself, you have a number of buildings and facilities that you probably could take advantage of in terms of this person's position. So I think we have the opportunity to do this now. We've got some situations brewing where I think it would be advantageous to look at the buildings and facilities. By bringing back the 5th grade position, we are at least having our class sizes at the elementary level where we wish them to be. We have our full-day kindergarten. We're hoping to have the support that we need there. Our numbers are good there right now. Our numbers are good at the high school, basically. I think we need to probably do some looking at the middle school, but we're not ready to make that decision. I don't want to make decisions before I fully investigate it. I've been here since June 4th, and with all of the things that we've had to look at, I think gradually over time I will recommend more positions for the classroom. We've added a Mandarin Chinese course that's online, so we'd like to do some more of that. I think at the middle school we're looking carefully at the organization and the structure of what we have right now. Mr. Gagan is creating a new schedule, and when that schedule is in place, it will give us a chance to see what we really do need before I ask for something. I want to make sure it's going to do the trick.
Well, your reputation procedure, we've always heard great things about you. So are you saying that you've already added additional teacher positions and this is just one more? Is that what you meant when you said that you were in
this
during
summer?
the summer?
Yes, we were able to create, not so much create, but actually build back some of the positions we had lost. And people had retired, so that helped. People moved on, so that made positions available. And we were also able to create positions of 3 curriculum people instead of an assistant superintendent, which I've not asked for. I've waited this year and perhaps another, maybe 2, to see if we actually need that position. We are low in administration, even though it feels like we might not be, but for a system this size, we are. We are undertaking many, many projects. We have a lot to build back in terms of state requirements, so we do need positions. But my thought with the 3 curriculum directors was that 3 full-time people looking at curriculum at different levels would be more effective. So I think for this year, this is what we want to do. We have an evaluation tool we have to put in place. We have a curriculum we have to align. I think that's where we are going to be for this year, and next year we'll review it again.
So the net gain in classroom teacher staff between what you did this summer and the fifth grade teacher would be?
The one for the grade 5 position in the elementary school.
Oh, okay. I thought what you were saying was that you add back.
Last year, for this current year, we added 5 at the elementary complex and 1 at the kindergarten. So 6 classroom teachers plus 2.5 specialists for PE and music. And then we'll have a 5th grade for next year.
Thank you. And that's just not backfilling retirees, that's net new?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mr. Falk?
Would you say that the state requirements on public education have gone up over the last few years?
Would I say? I would say so.
Have you seen the same increases in your Chapter 70?
No.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Frawley?
How you doing tonight? I've sat to do this twice now, and I've enjoyed it both times. So I just want to say thanks to everybody who's putting in a lot of time and effort on this, and the school committee as well. They're doing a great job getting this together. My background's in construction and residential and commercial construction, and I couldn't be happier with the addition of a facilities manager. I've seen buildings in Middleborough, just maintenance budgets go by the wayside, and I know that it's going to cost us more money in the long run. I worked for an old Yankee roofer years ago who said we can do a roof now, or we can do roofing and the ceiling in the spring. It's up to you. And we've done that time and time again in this town. I'm very happy to see a facilities manager here, so we won't have to continue to do that. So thank you for that.
Well, again, thank you for coming this evening.
We have the statement of interest. Do you want me to talk about that for just a moment?
Yes, we
Statement-
definitely want to talk about
The
that.
statement of interest, I'm sorry, I'll speak up. We have a statement of interest that we want to refresh, and that requires your reading verbatim the information that you have, and then voting and signing. I want to let you know that we are refreshing this statement of interest. You have refreshed it for the past number of years. What we're trying to do this year is focus on the high school, hoping that they will take a look at it a little bit more seriously. So I just want to let you know that that's our intention, and hope that you will support the refreshing of the statement of interest.
So we need to take a vote on this. I'm going to authorize the chair to sign this.
You have to read it.
Excuse me?
You have to read it.
You have to read it.
What's the pleasure? Excuse me?
You have to read it.
read this. This is the state.
You have to actually read the,
I got to read this?
yes, you do.
I'll take the hit, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Vice Chairman. I tell you, here, you can read this. Thank you.
All right. Resolved, having convened in an open meeting on March 4, 2013, the Middleborough Board of Selectmen, Middleborough, Mass., in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form that will be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA, by no later than April 10, 2013, for consideration in FY 2013 for the Middleborough High School located at 71 East Grove Street, which describes and explains the following deficiencies in the priority categories for which an applicant may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. Priority 2, elimination of existing severe overcrowding. Our current facility restricts our ability to fulfill our mission. Constraints involve space, equipment, and technology. The classroom environment has changed. In an effort to provide a 21st century learning environment, we have converted 3 classrooms into computer labs. There are 8 classrooms which have been taken over for specialized instruction, special education programs, alternative high school, severe special education classrooms, and the LINKS program. This leaves us with 11 less instructional classrooms. Priority 3, prevention of the loss of accreditation. A commission visit in June of 2007 prompted the New England Association of Secondary Schools and Colleges to place Middleborough High School on the warning status for facility-based issues. Priority 5, replacement, renovation, or modernization of a school facility system, such as roofs, windows, boilers, heating and ventilation systems, to increase energy conservation and decrease energy-related costs in a school facility, in a school facility to increase energy conservation and decrease energy-related costs in the schoolhouse. The present boiler system is the original equipment that was installed when the schoolhouse opened in 1971. Despite the ongoing maintenance to maintain the current system, a modernization of this nearly 40-year-old technology will result in significant efficiencies and cost savings. Single-pane original windows in 25% of the building result in rain and wind coming into the classrooms. The original ventilation system is inadequate, loud, and intrusive. The electrical capacity is inadequate to provide a 21st century learning environment. The lack of power, outlets, and data drops results in jury-rigging the whole building. Priority number 7, replacement of or addition to obsolete buildings in order to provide for a full range of programs consistent with state and approved local requirements. Our accreditation warning includes concerns with antiquated science labs, high class sizes, and inadequate space for health services, conferences with parents, and storage. In addition, may provide for immediate storage and meeting concerns, but will not address the structural deficiencies we face in bringing a 21st century learning environment to our students. And hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting this statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the town of Middleborough to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority. Certifications. The undersigned hereby certify that, to the best of his or her knowledge, information, and belief, the statements and information contained in this statement of interest and attached hereto are accurate, true, accurate, and that this statement of interest has been prepared under the direction of the District School Committee and the undersigned and is duly authorized to submit this statement of interest to the Massachusetts School Building Authority. The undersigned also hereby acknowledges and agrees to provide the Massachusetts School Building Authority, upon request by the authority, any additional information relating to the statement of interest that may be required by the authority.
Make a motion to have the chairman sign the particular document.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Frawley.
as part of the capital planning committee, I took a tour of the school along with Charlie and the rest of the committee 2 or 3 weeks ago. And that was a very nice description of that high school that I just read.
Thank you. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda. Again, thank you for coming this evening. Very informative presentation. Thank you. Vote by the Board of Selectmen budget recommendations. Sure. Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
the memo I presented to you on Friday was to bring us into a balanced budget for town meeting on April 22nd. As you heard tonight, we're in agreement with the school department on the number for their budget. That was a number that we've been carrying in the forecast since the very beginning. We, had some unexpected increases, such as the BP assessment. Fortunately, that offset by a reduction in our healthcare budget. Our healthcare expense for my came in a little lower, not a lot lower, but a little lower, and it was enough. But we did have to back out our snow and ice increase that we've been carrying the last couple of years. We'll restore that in the fall, and we'll have to give the veterans benefits budget an increase in the fall just to make sure we have enough for next year. But with that, we do have a balanced budget based on a level funded budget for all our town departments, and those were the numbers I gave you back in December. The only exception, or the only difference from that, in our trash enterprise fund, we had a couple of additional requests for maintenance that we can meet from the enterprise fund. So I built those in there. That was about $20,000. But other than that, everything here is the level funded request, which I'm recommending to you tonight.
Comments? I just have one. When the chief of police was in here, he wanted to expand the summer patrol program by, I think, one officer. It was relatively sharp money. I just want to keep these on the list. If we come up with some additional money in the fall, I think that's an important program. We talked about our ability to begin to venture into a civilian dispatch. Both of those items, I think, are important that we keep on a list, and if we have available money in the fall to begin to fund those.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, those are certainly my priorities, as I said, the night of the budget hearing as well. But unfortunately, their resources aren't there. And the chiefs and I continue to look at regional dispatch. We did get a quote from the state on what the additional grant amount could be if we did that. Unfortunately, it's not as much as we would have hoped, and it just to get to civilian dispatch where we actually are able to put our police and firefighters back to work on the street, is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not an easy amount to get to. I hope there will be a day in the not too distant future that we can, either through some additional growth, some additional state, something that gives us the ability to do that. If not all at once, at least maybe in one department and then the next. But I agree. I think those are things that if we can acquire, we want to acquire, and that's a priority for me as well.
Thank you. Any other board member have any comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Spataro?
I'm always impressed with Charlie's ability to work with the department heads, and also impressed with the department heads' ability to work with Charlie to come up with a balanced budget. This is consistent. No matter how challenging the times are, they figure out a way of getting it done, and applauding for those efforts.
You have a good team of department heads who work together, and they understand the realities we're dealing with right now. We continue to just get by, and they're willing to do everything they can to make this work, and they have been doing that for the last 5 years I've been doing this.
Thank you. But again, my comment is not just to you, it's to all of them.
Exactly.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair?
Mrs. McKinnon?
Charlie, relative to the dispatcher situation, it's a large number to do it for one department for all 168 hours of coverage for a week. But maybe if we can piecemeal it, even do a shift, do the third shift of one department for, put it in there for a year, and then the next year you've got two experienced people that can come on second, or split it, and build it up over a period of time.
No, I agree.
It gets more office, nothing ranks me more than to go into the police station and see a lieutenant sitting at their desk taking 911 calls, you know, and anybody that's trained to a different level can do it a lot and have your more experienced people out on the street.
Yeah, no, and I agree. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be done, you know, in pieces, and, you know, we'll you know, look at that as well,
Okay.
if the resources, you know, allow
Sure.
us to.
Okay, thank you. And I thank you for all the work you do on these budgets to get everybody working together, because, you know, the leadership is paramount in that. So thank you for that.
Thank you. With that, what's the pleasure of the board?
A motion to approve the budget as presented.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. We have a budget. Thank you all. Next item on the agenda is the town manager's report.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't have this last week. I talked a little bit last week about the response to the blizzard, but I didn't have the names of the people who really helped out, particularly in the keeping, the opening and the keeping open of the shelter at the middle school through the event. And you have a couple of memos here, one from Bob Silva, who coordinated the shelter that weekend, and Gene Spaulding as well, our health officer. So I wonder if you would mind, you know, maybe sending a letter of appreciation to the people involved. It was about 20 people who worked in the shelter, both staff and volunteers, and we had quite a lot of cooperation from the school department. Dr. Weiss, Kathy Piatelli, and their staff also were instrumental in allowing us to open and keep open that shelter. So
I'll take a motion on that.
Make a motion to, all the people on the list, the workers in the shelters in the school department, to get the letter of appreciation.
A motion and a second.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I had one question.
Mr. Quell.
Go ahead, you were first.
Oh, I walked in there, I think it was Sunday night, and they really did, they had a great setup there. There was a ton of food out, there were plenty of cots out. I think Ghostbusters was playing in the auditorium, so they went above and beyond. I couldn't have been happier walking in there and seeing what was available, because if things had gone another way, I might have been spending the night there, you know? So I was ecstatic at the cooperation of the whole town, and someone said it to me, that, you know, it's times like these that show you what a truly great place Middleborough is to live. You know, we really came together, and I couldn't be happier with it.
Well, thank you, well said. Mr. Quell?
Well, I don't pretend that this is easy to do, because you really just don't know what kind of numbers you're going to get in these shelters. But when I was there, I believe the chief basically took one of his vehicles down to the supermarket and just basically found whatever there was on the shelf, bought it out of his own pocket, which I'm sure we reimbursed him, and then just brought it into the shelter at the middle school as best we can. Now, at that time, we probably had, you know, 3 or 4 elderly, and I know we had probably 2 families. So there wasn't a huge need for food at that point, but it was kind of just what we had is what we had. So in the future, do we have some sort of a pantry list or some way that it's just set up, because it seemed like until more people went in there?
well, we did actually have the support from the school department there. We had their food service person come in, and they prepared some meals out of their resources as well. So we you know, there were donations, and then there were you know, things that we were able to provide through.
The cafeteria just
Yeah.
eventually gets, I mean, when they hit a certain amount of people, the cafeteria just opens up and they start bringing food
Well,
out.
it depends on,
preparing,
you know,
'cause-
what the need is, but, you know, in this case, we reached out to the school department, and they were able to provide us some resources to provide food for the people who were there.
Okay.
Anyone else? All those in favor of sending out the letters?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous.
And then
Mr. Chairman, Dr. White is here. Can we just, she's one of the few people that's here. Can we thank her personally?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for all your work at the emergency shelter.
service director. I was in contact with her, and she did a marvelous job in getting staff member and supplying good, healthy meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, over a number of days. So she did a wonderful job with everybody else. So thanks to everybody who contributed.
And then I had given you this last week, but I think I passed over it a little too quickly. We had a memo from Andy to me about the DPW employees who work so hard during the storm, and if we could send a letter to the department, thanking them for their effort that they put into that storm. They work very hard.
Did we also send that to the GM?
Yeah, we should. We should do the same thing because they certainly, did a good job, as did police and fire. So, maybe we thank the 4 departments.
Great. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to send out letters of thanks to the DPW and the G&E.
And the
Police
police and fire.
Police and fire.
Police, fire, anyone else?
We have a group hug.
Yeah, we'll get them all in here and have a group hug. That's a great idea. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. We ought to send a letter to Jackie, too, for taking up all this.
Jackie, type up a letter to yourself, all right?
Then we have a letter from Andy Bagas announcing that he'll be retiring in May. And he says it was a pleasure to serve the town of Middleborough, and I thank you for the opportunity they provided me and your support to me as the DPW director. So I'm sorry to see the letter. I know Andy had hoped to be with us longer, and I certainly hope that he would have been with us longer, but circumstances being what they are, he'll be retiring. So we'll begin the process to replace him.
Yeah, we're going to miss Andy. I thought he
Yeah.
did a really professional job out here, and he's going to be missed.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I was asked what about his accomplishments, and he really did revamp the way we handle snow and ice removal, and took a very proactive approach. Bought equipment that could really cover the distances we have in Middleborough, which are very great, as we know. And I think it's shown a marked improvement since he's been here. So, and I think that's something that'll remain with us after he leaves. And then I did give you a draft warrant. We have 30 articles for town meeting on the 22nd. In the annual, of course, we have the 3 usual articles in the special. And starting next week, we'll be having presentations and hearings, not so much hearings, but presentations on the various articles, just to bring the public and the board up to speed on what's going to be happening at town meeting.
Okay.
And I think that's all I have.
Thank you. Next item is correspondence. We'll start with Mr. Spataro.
All set.
All set. Mr. Farrelly?
I'm good.
Mr. Quill?
All set.
All set. Mr. McKinnon?
I'm all set.
And Chair's all set.
Oh, don't look at me like that.
At this point, we're going to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining issues. Discussing these matters in public would jeopardize the town's position, so that will take a roll call vote. We will not be returning to open session. Mr. McKinnon?
Yes.
Mr. Quell?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Mr. Frawley?
Yes.
Mr. Spataro?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for coming this evening. The open session is adjourned. Thank you.